Hello, welcome to the Backseat Driver. My name is Neil Mathweg. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by. I hope that you're having a great day, and thank you for joining us. We're going to dive into our money management series and talk about all of the fun things that my wife and I have learned over the years. As many of you know, we faced $264,000 of debt and are working our way out of it. And so today's show is going to help us with our budgeting. And so I know it's a tough thing to talk through and work through because we don't like this word budgeting, but stick with me here. All right, hang in there. We're gonna figure this all out, and I hope that this show will be something that will help your family get your money under control, slow it down a little bit, and help you build some wealth. So if you've ask yourself this, so if you've ever felt like that there's just not enough money at the end of the month, that you're always running out, or the money just doesn't last. I don't know where it goes. I'm clueless on where my money is going. I'm always looking for more money. If only I had a better job, maybe you're asking or telling yourself, it's all about the income. If you're asking yourself those questions, this show is definitely for you. Over the past 5 years, I've been meeting with all kinds of great people, couples, singles, at their kitchen table. I've probably met with well over 200 individuals now. And, this is a conversation that I have usually at kitchen tables or on couches in living rooms, but I'm excited to have it here with you today, right here in the back seat of my car on the Backseat Driver. So this is something that I've discussed a lot, but it's never anything that I've put out in a video like this. So I'm excited, and of course I want to hear your feedback, because that's one of the nice things about meeting at a kitchen table is it's a conversation. So it's hard to have a conversation with a video camera, but I'm hoping that you'll give me your questions that you have, and that we can continue this conversation after this video here. Because I know exactly what you're going through, because I've been there myself. I used to ask myself, or to say to myself, only if I made more money, only if I could sell more houses, if I could get more income, or maybe if I had a better job, I wouldn't have these money problems. I wouldn't always be feeling like I need to catch up or go to the bank to get a loan or put things on my credit card. If only I made more money. And so I know exactly what you're feeling, and I know that this isn't easy to get through and easy to understand, but really it just comes down to some basic principles about understanding budgeting. It's really what I'm going to teach today is so simple that you may already know it, but it might just be a good refresher to hear, and it might be some principles that you didn't know, because like I said, these are things that I learned and it changed our lives. So as simple as they are, as basic as they are, they're very helpful, and I hope that they'll teach you, because when my wife and I lost $264,000 or took on $264,000 of debt, I had to figure out how to budget. Otherwise, there was no way we were going to get out. I mean, I was used to spending more than I was making, and now I had to reverse that, and I had to pay $264,000 off. So I had to put these principles to use, and it works. I mean, it really does. So I was introduced to something called a zero-based budget. Dave Ramsey teaches it. You can Google it and look it up. It's called a zero-based budget. When I first heard of the word budgeting, I thought, man, this is going to be like I'm living in a straitjacket. This is going to suck. I can't budget. I don't want to be told what I need to spend. I don't want to give up that control. I don't want to talk about this with my wife. I'm in control, and it was hard for me. So, but what helped me first get over the word budget, because that has this negative karma to it. You just hate the word budget. But when Dave Ramsey called it a plan, not a budget, that's when it started to ring true with me. That's when I started to say, okay, I get it, because you wouldn't build a $500,000 house without a plan, without a blueprint, would you? You would have a nice written out, multi-page blueprint ready to go. That would be your plan. You'd have everything where every nail's going to go, where every outlet's going to go, where you get it. You're going to have a full blueprint of the plan of the $500,000 house you're going to build. But yet, if we make $50,000 a year, and in 10 years, that's $500,000 of money rolling through our hands, and we don't have a plan, we'll build the $500,000 house with a plan, but we won't have a plan for our $500,000 of money that's coming into our hands. So when it was explained to me like that, I said, I get it. It's not a budget, it's a plan. And so what is a zero-based budget? How does this work? The goal is to get to zero, to spend your money on paper before the month begins. Let me say that again. It's to spend all of your money. Let's say you make $5,000 a month. It's to spend all $5,000 a month on paper. Tell it where it's going to go. Put it in paper. Every dollar has a name. Put it on paper before the month begins. So every month you do a budget. You don't set the annual budget like the government does and let it ride. You do this every month. And we're going to talk more about this next week and how you manage this with your spouse and have these budget meetings. My wife and I meet every month and have a monthly budget meeting to go over our budget. So let's run some numbers down here. Let's run this out as a scenario. Let's use you make $500,000 a year. I'm sorry, that would be good. That'd be a good income. You make $5,000 a month. We're going to spend $5,000 a month on paper before the month begins. Okay, so you've got that $5,000 of income coming in, and you let's say you've got $3,000 a month in fixed expenses. It's just set. It's there automatic every month. $3,000. It's for your house. You know, if you've got a car payment, if you've got other utilities, insurance, all of those, they're just set. Set it and forget it. $3,000 a month. So really it comes down to we've got $2,000 that we have to have a budget meeting over. We have to decide where we're going to spend that $2,000. It could be as simple as just breaking it down like this. You know, there's $200 for eating out. There's $200 for clothes. You know, $1,000 for groceries. $200 for entertainment. $200 for gas. $200 for repairs. There's your $2,000 that you need to spend on paper before the month begins. If it was only that simple, right? Now there's going to be things that you want that you need to discuss. There's going to be things that if you're married, your spouse is going to want that you're going to need to discuss. And so you need to balance that money. If you want something, let's say you want a $100 item. I don't even know what an example would be, but let's say you want a $100 item. Well, you need to figure out where that $100 is coming from. Do we maybe only eat out for $180, and maybe do we only spend $180 on clothes, or maybe just you trim away so that you spend all of that money on paper before the month begins. And then there's some other tips that come with this, because it's like if you might want to implement something that's called the envelope system. So you have an envelope with all of the things that you're budgeting for, and you put the cash in the envelopes, and then when you go out to eat, you take the going out to eat envelope, and you only use that cash, and when that cash is gone, guess what? You don't go out to eat anymore. It's done. And so it's a system that will help you use cash, and it'll help you control that money. I don't use cash anymore. I put everything in this notebook, and I write out everything in here. Every dollar I hand write where every dollar is going. It's very, very detailed. It's almost nerd style here, but I find that if I hand write it, it calculates better with me, and it slows the money down. I'm no longer wondering how much money is in my account. I know exactly how much money is in my account, and I know exactly how much money we need to get through the rest of the month, and it's all in this notebook, extremely detailed. Then what I do is I copy this or scan this over to my wife. She looks it over. We say, no, I need a little bit here, a little less there. We tweak it a little bit, and it's set. And so there's no more money fights. And we're going to talk more about this next week. I don't want to get into it too much, but next week we're going to talk about how we have these budget meetings with our spouse, and how we can manage this money together in a marriage. So I thought I would share a funny story about my wife and our budgeting. Once we started budgeting, we realized really how broke we were and how how much money we were putting on credit cards and acquiring loans and just out earning our stupidity, as Dave Ramsey says it. But one of the things that we realized was that we're so broke. We had one daughter at the time, and there's like, I don't even know how we're not even able to feed ourselves. How can we have another baby? So I always joke when my oldest daughter is 9 and my youngest is 3, and everybody always says, wow, that's quite a difference between the age, 6 years, wow. And I always say, well, you could tell there was a recession in between because it's the truth. I mean, we were so broke we couldn't even afford to feed another child or get diapers or anything like that. So the budgeting helped us figure that out. So and like I said, over the last 5 years, I've met with so many families and worked through these details of budgeting, and really the bottom line is that you just need to spend every dollar on paper before the month begins. You wouldn't, like I said, you wouldn't build a $500,000 house without a blueprint or without a plan. So you have to have a plan, otherwise you're not going to have enough money to finish this home that you're building. So my perspective, a little side note here too, is the less money you make, the easier it is to budget. Let me say that again. The less money you make, the easier it is to budget. Because the more you make, the more decisions you have to make. The more you have to discuss with your wife, the more there's I want this, I want that, the harder the budget meeting gets. If you're making fewer dollars, it's pretty simple to budget. I know when we were in the recession and barely surviving, our budget meetings were like 2 minutes long. I mean, it was easy. It was like, okay, we're going to survive. That's the mode we're on. Now that our income is up a little bit, our budget meetings are a little longer. They're a little bit more intense. There's more I wants. There's, hey, we got to continue to be gazelle intense to get out of debt. So the meetings become a little bit more difficult. So so just know that if you're not making a lot of money, this is going to be really easy for you. So, the other thing too is a lot of people always say it's about the income. I just need to make more money. If I only made more money, I would have no problem with my money. Life would be easy. Well, that's really not the truth, because what I've learned is that when you get a $300 raise at work, you reward yourself with a $400,000 or $400 car payment, right? So it's still about the expenses. We all focus on our income when we need to be focusing on our expenses. And so that's what budgeting is. That's what planning is focusing on our expenses. Where are we going to spend this money? How are we going to spend it? The Lord has blessed us with this income. Every month we get income, all right? How are we going to be good stewards of it? Where are we going to put it? How are we going to spend it? That's what budgeting is, or planning. Let's not call it budgeting anymore, okay? Let's call it planning, all right? And so it also reminds me of a good friend of mine. His father once said, or used to always say, that we buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. How true is that? So, I just hope that all of this will help you manage your money and realize that it's not about the income, that it is about the expenses, and that you can tell your money where to go. You can plan every month. And of course, remember, I'm just the backseat driver. I don't have all of the answers. I want to continue this conversation with you. I hope that that some of these teachings here will resonate with you and will help you, maybe help you and your spouse if you're married. And again, I want to continue the conversation. So let me know your thoughts. Let's grow together. I hope that everybody has a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be the reason somebody smiles today. And thanks again for watching The Backseat Driver. Have a great day.